a blue monster appears, leaving destruction in its wake. Saitama, a bald man wearing a cape, decides to deal with the situation. He saves a young girl from the monster calling itself Vaccine Man, who claims to have a better backstory than simply being a hero for fun. But before he can finish his villain exposition, Baldy defeats him with a single punch, screaming in frustration. Only one punch? Again? A less bald and more unemployed Saitama runs into a half-crab man named Crablante, but he leaves him alone, as a little boy with an impressive cleft chin drew nipples on his carapace and apparently needs to pay for it. He decides to save the kid, killing Crablante with a necktie, ripping out his eye stalk. After that, he trained so hard he went bald. That was 3 years ago. Present-day Saitama remembers a colossal man interrupting his shopping trip. Apparently, a mad scientist created a serum to make this meathead brother the strongest man alive. Saitama appears on the left shoulder, while the brains maniacally denotes how they'll rule the world, until he notices and tells his brother to kill the man on his shoulder. No, the other one. It dawns on the bronze, and he tries removing Saitama from his sight, sending him deep underground. Being the strongest man alive makes you feel empty. Saitama agrees. Having too much power is boring, accidentally leveling B City with one right hook, sending the giant flying. Saitama notices there's less need for emotions when you can solve everything with a single punch. Waking up, there's a subterranean invasion. The Earth Dwellers have taken the lives of 70% of the population. Saitama is elated. Finally, some opponents that can rekindle his fighting spirit. They even have a king. And he wakes up to find there really is an invasion, but nothing like the one he envisioned. There's a massive swarm of mosquitoes in City Z, while Saitama struggles to catch even one while watering his cactus. The blood is completely drained from a looter in the abandoned city. A cyborg figures out they're being controlled by a mosquito woman who trades her legs for an arm. Saitama runs down the street spraying the single mosquito, only to run into the cyborg and the giant swarm surrounding the woman. Despite setting the bugs alight, the massive amount of blood she consumes forces the cyborg to self-reflect after Saitama swats her, disappearing faster than his clothes. In awe of his strength, the cyborg wishes to become his disciple. And he's not joking. He shows up a week later, introducing himself as Janos, insistent on calling Saitama master and relaying his whole life story completely unprovoked. Basically, a cyborg destroyed his hometown along with its inhabitants, forcing Janos to become a cyborg to take revenge on said cyborg. A mysterious figure decides to capture Saitama for his genetic experiments, sending genetically modified creatures after him. Janos learns from an armored gorilla, who's also a cyborg, about the House of Evolution, a cloning lab run by clones. He launches into a monologue about Dr. Genus, who experiments with artificial evolution and who's taken an interest in Saitama's incredible strength. Upon arrival at the House of Evolution, Janos levels the entire above-ground complex. One of the clones unleashes Carnage Kabuto, the pinnacle of evolution, according to the doctor. He deals with Janos effortlessly, though when he goes to attack Saitama, he backs off, terrified of his power and lack of thought given to defense. He's wide open. Before they fight, Saitama reveals the secret to his strength: 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run every day for 3 years, or at least until your hair falls out. That's just regular strength training. That can't be his secret. Unfortunately for everyone in the room, that's pretty much the gist of it. Carnage Kabuto goes into carnage mode. He'll be in this rampaging state for a week, all the way to next Saturday. Saitama looks defeated. He isn't even putting up a fight. A whole week, which means today is Saturday. He's made a grave mistake. He missed discount day at the supermarket, absolutely destroying his wallet and Carnage Kabuto. But Janos reassures him that there's still enough time to make it before close. They blast a hole through the wall and rush to the store. Dr. Genus gives up on his research right then and there, while the Hero Association investigates Genos' destructive capabilities. After a passionate speech about eating the banks or trickle-down bootstraps, a terrorist named Hammerhead knocks down a building owned by Zenitsu, a wealthy, powerful man. Wrong building, but it's the thought that counts, right? Saitama jolts awake after a disturbing dream about rock, paper, scissors, discovering there's a group of terrorists running rampant. He won't stand for it. They stole his look. Now every bald man is a public enemy. Zenitsu doesn't need to look far for help. He hires an assassin who shows up at an almost too convenient time to deal with Hammerhead and co. He makes quick work of the cue balls, relieving their bodies of their heads. But Hammerhead slips away, only to run into Saitama in the forest, who destroys his stolen battlesuit. The assassin shows up and immediately thinks he's a terrorist. Saitama is disheartened that he has no idea who he is. The hired gun zips around, introducing himself as Speed of Sound Sonic. The only thing that slows him down is saying his own name. He's surprised that Saitama can block his attacks when he accidentally sacks him. Sonic vows that they'll meet again while slinking off. Saitama tells Genos they have a problem. Nobody knows who he is, despite defeating more monsters than any other hero. Apparently, if he wants recognition, he'll have to sign up to be on the official hero registry. They agree to sign up together, so Genos can become his official disciple. There are only two things standing in their way: a physical and written exam. Saitama destroys every record of the physical portion, and most of the equipment while he's at it. Genos gets a perfect score on both portions, but why would they make a cyborg take the physical? He is immediately ranked as an S-class hero, and confident in his master, begins celebrating, only to find out he mistook the top half of the letter C as that of an S. Saitama passed by 1 point despite a perfect physical score. They are the only two that pass the hero exams and must endure a class taught by Snek, an A-class hero. Frustrated at their lack of attention span, Snek tries to haze Saitama later on, only to embarrass himself further. Genos challenges Saitama to spar, though upon asking his master to go all out, he's completely baffled by his incredible strength. He still doesn't believe that Saitama's basic training regimen is truly his secret. He's on another level completely. Afterwards, they get some udon when Class A Rank 1 hero Sweet Mask comes to speak with Genos. Outside, he gives him an ominous welcome to the big leagues. It's been 5 days since they became heroes and Genos moved in. He casually mentions that Class C heroes need to make a quota or else they are removed from the registry. Saitama had no idea, nor did he have the slightest clue what he could teach his disciple. He quickly makes something up he read in a manga about training his mind or something, and gives him the goal of making S-Class top 10. He runs around the city for 2 days to no avail. To make matters worse, Sonic shows up, looking for a rematch against his imaginary rival, becoming spooked when Saitama breaks his sword and threatens him in anger. A woman points them out as another C-Class hero, Tank Top Tiger, approaches. Saitama laughs, thinking Sonic is a criminal, but becomes even more annoyed when he realizes nobody recognizes him as a hero. Sonic throws an exploding shuriken at Tank Top Tiger and starts wreaking havoc. Saitama doesn't have time for this. He needs to find a villain. Wait, does bringing Sonic in count towards his quota? It's a good thing he happens to be a hired assassin, despite Saitama's ignorance of the fact. 2 A-class heroes, Golden Ball and Spring Mustachio, are dispatched to City Z to investigate reports of a monster sighting. A monster also investigates the sighting and ends up running into the heroes. Golden Ball is taken out almost immediately, while Spring Mustachio calls for backup before getting destroyed. Saitama happens to be walking home and runs into the monster. Not good. He forgot to get kombu stock. A giant meteor changes trajectory, now heading straight for City Z, when Genos is called in by the association. All the S-Class heroes are called in, but only Bang shows up. He briefs Genos on the situation. Before he can try his new upgrades, Metal Knight sends one of his drones for a field test, which has no impact whatsoever. Genos begins overthinking until Bang calms him down. He puts everything he has into one shot, which again has no impact on the meteorite. Saitama appears, refusing to let his city be destroyed, and punches straight through, shattering the meteorite into smaller pieces that rain down on the city, causing massive devastation. No one died though. Good enough. After the events, Saitama's rank shoots up from 342 to C-Class rank 5, despite doing what 2 S-Class heroes couldn't. He goes out on patrol, only to be stopped by Tank Top What's-His-Face and another tank top wearing hero who tried to turn the citizens against Saitama for destroying the city and cheating in the rankings. Saitama becomes angry and yells at the crowd, who are oblivious to the fact that they wouldn't be standing there without him. He doesn't do this for admiration, he does it because he wants to. Genos calms him down before he makes a bigger scene. The Sea Folk announce their invasion of the surface. Mumen Rider races to the scene, but he's too late. Saitama happened to be walking by and already took care of it. In City J, A-Class hero Stinger defeats some of the Sea Folk who begin to emerge, while Saitama watches reports of the incident. The Sea King appears, defeating Stinger with ease as Genos, Saitama, and Mumen Rider head to the scene. Lightning Max debates whether to step in when the Sea King appears behind him, taking him out in a single hit. 2 escaped convicts, Puri Puri Prisoner, an S-Class hero, and Sonic run into the Sea King, who has a tough time dealing with the former. Sonic decides to take him on after being insulted, but as it begins to rain, the Sea King only gets faster and stronger. Mumen Rider spots a lost Saitama looking for Genos and gives him a ride. Sonic escapes with his life, but not his clothes, and tells the cyborg not to bother, running past Saitama during his retreat. Saitama jumps off the bike, wondering who the naked guy was. He finds Mumen Rider's dropped phone when the Hero Association calls. Genos faces off with the Sea King, who rips his arm off while he tries to evacuate the stadium, but he's taken out while attempting to save a little girl. Not to worry, Mumen Rider is on the scene. He absolutely refuses to give up, giving a rousing speech and garnering cheers from the crowd. Saitama catches him before the Sea King kills him, interrupting his villain exposition. Q-Ball winds up and completely wrecks the King of the Deep with one punch, stopping both him and the rain. Sonic, now clothed, returns with his weapons a few seconds too late, believing the monster left. At their apartment, Genos and Saitama receive a bunch of fan mail, well, hate mail, and one fan letter in Saitama's case, prompting a flashback to the aftermath of the battle, where Saitama vindicates one crowd member's smack-talking heroes. He lies to them, saying it's true that he's the guy who steps in to steal other heroes' credit, making them appreciate the fallen ones. A third letter arrived from the Hero Association, promoting him to C-Class rank 1 and inviting him to a meeting to decide whether to move up to B-Class. They discuss if he's really a fake despite his record-breaking test scores. If he's for real, they'll soon find out. On his way back home, he stops for something to eat, only to find Mumen Rider, who offers to buy him a drink since he couldn't say everything in his thank you letter. At Bang's dojo, he tells Genos and Saitama that one of his students went crazy and defeated all his top disciples when someone from the Hero Association shows up, claiming there's an emergency meeting for all S-Class heroes. Saitama goes along, since he has nothing better to do. Madame Shibabawa, a seer who predicted monster attacks, has died. But with her last breath, she predicted that the Earth is in trouble, sometime within the next 6 months. Suddenly, the HQ is attacked. A giant alien spaceship appears in the sky, leveling City A. Genos looks around, but Saitama has already busted through the ceiling, boarding the ship with ease, leaving the S-Class heroes to fight on the ground. One of the aliens, Guryugunshoop, panics while Saitama thoughtlessly runs through the ship, punching everything in his path. They call Melzargard, the regenerating multi-headed alien fighting the S-Class heroes on the ground, back to the ship to help. Meanwhile, Saitama continues searching for the captain, accidentally breaking everything he touches. The heroes fighting the alien have a tough time as physical attacks have no effect until Metal Bat finds and destroys a blue marble which kills off one of the heads. When Saitama is contacted telepathically and told to leave, claiming he's lost, the alien is more than happy to direct him off the ship until he goes in the opposite direction. Smashing through the door, he finds the telepath who tries to intimidate him with telekinesis. But Saitama says it's a waste of time using such power to throw pebbles around, tossing one right through its head. The ship's gunner waits for confirmation, but decides to fire regardless. But the S-class hero Tornado stops the barrage, redirecting it towards the ship. Moomin Rider saves the survivors in City A, inspiring other low-ranking heroes to join him. Bang destroys another of Melzargard's heads, which leaves only one left, provoking an attack that launches him through multiple buildings. Back on the ship, Saitama smashes through the alien leader's door, who recognizes him as the strongest warrior on the planet, with seemingly unlimited energy. Before they fight, he wishes to exchange names out of respect, announcing himself as Boros, the leader of the Dark Matter Gang and dominator of the universe. Saitama begins introducing himself as a hero for fun. Make that a professional hero, catching himself, saving him from embarrassment. Apparently, when Boros became bored with being so strong, an alien seer made a prediction that he would find someone worthy of fighting. Saitama doesn't care, punching him, only to break his armor, which seals his unimaginable power. Sure, okay, he has no problem keeping up, even punching Boros' arm off. Tornado begins attacking the ship with her telekinesis, while Drive Knight warns Genos that Metal Knight is not an ally. Bang turns out to be completely fine and destroys the last of Melzargard's heads. Boros continues his relentless assault on Saitama, who is still completely unfazed by everything he says and does. He does, however, have powerful regenerative powers, but Saitama interrupts his villain exposition, but takes a high knee, sending him to the moon. He looks around and jumps back to Earth, impressing himself. It's time to end this. Saitama finally unleashes one of his most powerful moves, consecutive normal punches, but it only provokes Boros to use his ultimate move, forcing Saitama to use his ultimate move, Serious Punch, which sends him around the world, completely baffling Boros that he lost. Sweet Mask shows up, becoming furious about the results of the battle, and loses it on the S-rank heroes, while Metal Knight sends a drone to collect the alien tech to incorporate into his own. Genos wonders where his master is, as Saitama punches his way out of the ship. They ignore a furious Tornado and start casually chatting about him beating Boros. Even though City A was wiped off the map, they rebuilt the Hero Association with parts salvaged from the ship while inviting the A and S rank heroes to live at the new headquarters. A while later, Saitama faces Pluton, king of the underworld, only to become furious that he's back to beating everything with one punch. Thank you for sticking until the end. Subscribe for more videos like this.